and welcome back to the Mind of the Writer. So this week I'm adding a fifth concept to my preliminary concepts for developing my still elusive theory as to what's going on in the mind of the writer when it comes to writing love stories and love scenes. And that concept is the concept of mystique. So to recap again, we've done Hiraeth, we've done limerence, we've done muses, we've done the art of desire, and now I'm adding this sort of sidestep concept, which is mystique. At least that's what I'm thinking of it, or thinking of in my mind. And I want to start out with an anecdote, because this really, I don't know if this is a concept or it's just a thought that I want to throw into the mix when it comes to this theory, or this eventual theory that I'm going to work on next month. So I'm going to start with this anecdote. I'm repeating myself, but I have this singer that I absolutely adore, and he's a Latin American singer. I am not going to say his name, but I just think that this singer is fantastic, and I've adored his music since I was in Mexico when I was 22. So this is a long-lasting admiration for this singer. And there was always a sense of mystique around this singer for me, and that added to his music, because his music was often very romantic, very wistful, very nostalgic, very deep. And of course, I didn't know anything about this singer's life. And it wasn't so much that I had any crush on the singer, but I just didn't know anything about the singer. And so when I was listening to his music, I was very much into the music and into the song. However, with the increase in social media, I just, as the world, I moved with the world, in that I started to be exposed to more of the behind the scenes stuff, and that included around this singer. And so I decided maybe about 6 or 7 years ago that I would follow this singer on, I believe it was on Twitter. Yes, I think it was on Twitter that I was following him. And all of a sudden, I found myself watching him barbecuing on the weekend with his family and with his grandchildren, and in flip-flops and by the pool, and sort of flipping hamburgers and hanging out with the kids, and it's not that that's bad. It was all really wonderful, but it certainly took away the mystique that surrounded him as an artist. And when that happened, I actually stopped following him on Twitter, because I found that it was interfering with my enjoyment of his music, because I'd be listening to his music and wouldn't be able to get the image of him, in his shorts and his flip-flops with his grandchildren out of my head, and it just it detracted from my experience with the song. That's not to say that I don't think it's wonderful that he had grandchildren and a pool and was barbecuing. I mean, that's all completely wonderful. But it reminded me of something that I had read years earlier about the golden Hollywood age, when there was this real sense of mystery around those stars, and it added to their stardom. And in, our modern times, with all of the exposure that comes out through all the different media outlets, that mystery is somehow eroded. And so as I'm doing this, as I'm researching these things, and I'm thinking about the writer writing love scenes, and I'm thinking, well, how much of the real world is going into those love scenes? How much is imagination? How much is fantasy? Then I start to think, well, just a minute. What about the writer? Does the reader need to have that sense of mystique around the writer in order to fully enjoy the story, and more specifically in this particular, area of study, to enjoy the love scenes? Because just as my sort of listening of those love scenes was eroded by all of the other images of the artist in their, let's say, out of song life, would that be the same between the reader and the writer of love scenes? So, for example, and I said this, in I think it was on the video in Muses, but if the reader knows too much about the author's daily life, too much of the sort of flesh and bone of the author, all the little things that have fed all the elements of the story, is that not going to detract from the magic of the story? Is that not going to detract from the magic of the love scene? Does the reader need to have mystique around the writer? So really, again, this is just a short video. I wanted to pose that question to you, share the anecdote of my feelings around this Latin American singer who I still, really adore, and I really love his music. And again, when it comes to building the more intricate theory, or at least the more comprehensive theory, which at this point I'm going to call the Emperor's New Clothes theory, I think that this idea of the mystique between the reader and the writer, at least the reader having it with having a feeling of mystique with the writer, is also going to play into some of my conclusions when I start to get busy with that. So thank you for listening to all of these preliminary videos. And then next time, I hope to have, well, I just hope to have a comprehensive theory on love writing for you. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.